Jen here with No More Boring Cakes. Some fresh squeezed lemonade to go with my lemon apron that I'm wearing today. Okay, we're buttercreaming cake number 4 of 6. Before we start, I have this new Archon mount that I'm working with, and I have put it at different areas in my cake room. This is the first time I am shooting from this angle. And I have to tell you who that is. That's my stepdad, Gene. Lost him to emphysema and cancer nearly 8.5 years ago. And I have that picture of him posted because my parents, my mom and stepdad, and my dad and my stepmom have been my absolute biggest fans and supporters from the day I decorated my very first cake. And I have notes on the wall from all of them telling me how happy and proud they are of me. And as a daughter, that is an incredible gift. And so I like to keep that as reminders. So that's my stepdad, Gene, always keeping an eye over me. And a couple silly towels from my best friend. One says, "Not a morning person," at least until I've had coffee. And then that one says, "I'm outdoorsy. I enjoy day drinking on patios." Okay, oh no, I have to tell you one more thing. Isn't this the most amazing toolbox ever? So this is one of my favorite things in here. It has a million drawers. Everything that I have is, not everything, some of my tools that I use most often are in here. My dad, Rick, bought this for me as a beautiful gift. And now you guys get to see it as the backdrop. Okay, enough. Ready? Chocolate cake. This is a 7-inch round chocolate cake. I bake in Fat Daddy-O pans that are 4-inch deep. This is chocolate cake. I then, after it was cooled, I then do a simple syrup spray on the top of this cake to keep it moist. That's already been done. Cardboard rounds. We're gonna glue with my buttercream frosting. Cardboard rounds onto the cake. If my cake fell a little bit and isn't as tall as I'd like, I double, triple, quadruple the cardboard rounds up to give it the height that I want. That was an amazing trick that I learned from Portia Kimball. So I'm gonna add another one. And I'm gonna measure it again. Okay, so I'm at 4 1/4. I'm good with that. Okay, so we're gonna put a little bit of buttercream on this bottom of this cardboard round. Then we're gonna flip this cake over and we're gonna get it centered in my cake board. Okay, so this is a 7-inch cake. My cake boards are 12-inch square. So I'm just gonna eyeball it, get down to eye level, squish it down. Now I'm going to double check my work, grab a ruler, and give it a measure. Totally off on that one. My eyeballing it didn't cut it. So let's try this again. 2 3/4, 2 3/4, 3. Okay, calling it good. Get a little bit of excess oil from especially chocolate cake. So I'm just wiping my hands with a damp cloth, and then we're gonna dig in. So earlier today, I whipped up about 9 pounds of buttercream to get all my cakes frosted. So here we go. Offset spatula. And I'm gonna move a little bit closer. Okay, here we go. So we're gonna grab as much frosting as we can with the back side of your offset spatula. Then we're gonna start at the bottom. Think of it like gluing the cake and the cardboard rounds down on the cake board, okay? So we're gonna start at the bottom and we're gonna use plenty. Do you see these crumbs? I'm just gonna wipe them off onto my table because I don't need them in my frosting. Okay, I gotta go over the top. I can't do it in front. Ready? Here we go. I'm gonna hold the top of the cake because I can already feel that it's slipping, and we just measured it, and I don't want to remeasure it and make sure that it continues to stay center. So I'm gonna hold the top of the cake, and I'm gonna get this frosting in to the cracks that are holding the cake to the board. Now I'm going to continue grabbing more frosting, but I'm just going to start working my way toward the middle, all the way around. Then we'll do the top all the way around, okay? Now, if you noticed, I stopped holding it here and I started spinning the board because the frosting helped kind of glue it down a little bit, so it's not as wiggly. It's not moving around as much. I'm using very light pressure with my spatula. There's no need to ever use a heavy hand. Lots of frosting, light-handed. So you may be wondering, what happened to the crumb coat? I don't crumb coat. I like to use a lot of frosting and give it a heavy coat the first time. Call it a day. Because all my cakes are covered in fondant, it doesn't matter. So I feel like on this one, it needs a little more frosting around the edge, connecting it to the board. So I'm just gonna go in and add a little bit more, and then we're gonna grab the next tool and we're gonna start smoothing it out, okay? Okay. Just pulling up the excess that's on the board. So, to smooth my buttercream, I use a bowl scraper. These are intended for big industrial size bowls to scrape batter, dough out. They're really good for smoothing out your frosting. These are about $1. You can find them in any baking restaurant supply store. They are hard, but they're flexible. They will start to soften and warp over time. Throw them away, get a new one. So I'm gonna keep my buttercream scraper on the board at a little bit of an angle, and then I'm gonna spin with this hand, the Lazy Susan, and I'm just gonna pull. Pull and spin. Bring it up. There's excess frosting. Throw it back in your bowl. So I'm keeping in mind fondant's going to be covering this, so we want it smooth. Doesn't need to be perfect, okay? A lot of this is by feel. It is by look, and you do need to get down and get eye level and kind of take a look at it, see where you're at. But for the most part, you're gonna feel a lump of frosting. You're gonna feel it smoother in one spot than another. You just need to get used to doing it, and then you'll acquire that feeling, okay? So I'm just gonna get down eye level, take another look, and I can see that in the bottom inch, it goes in a little bit. So I'm gonna grab some frosting with my offset spatula, and I'm gonna go fill in the bottoms with a little bit more frosting. Then get that same tool, and we're gonna go back over it again. Okay, so let's try that again, okay? Smoothing it out, pulling it, excess, scrape it off into the bowl, okay? Now, I am going to take a look at eye level, see what's happening. Okay, I think I'm good. Might do one more pass. I guess this is something that you could just keep doing and it'll never be perfect. So you have to just get to a point where it's good enough, especially because it's covered in fondant. Okay, so now we're gonna grab quite a bit of frosting. I'm gonna plop it on the top. We're gonna smooth that out. Make sure that we cover all of the chocolate cake up. So sometimes I pull in the frosting that's on the edges, I pull it toward the center. Whenever I have too much that I feel like it's sticking, scrape it off on your bowl. Sometimes when like right now, when I pull my spatula up, I have to wipe it off because then it sticks. But if I am continually working, even if I pull it up a little bit, the frosting, I can keep working with it. But if you kind of break off and you stop, you got to pull and scrape. Okay, back to this guy. I'm going to do a couple turns on the top edge, pull it down. Now I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna bend down to eye level, and I'm gonna pull all these edges toward the center while I'm rotating on the Lazy Susan. Scrape off the excess on the side of the bowl. And I'm just kind of eyeballing it, getting down, taking a look and seeing where we're at, see if I see any humps or if it's completely not level. What do we need to do? Okay, I think I'm good. Next step, finding the front. I lied. I'm gonna go in and scrape one more time. I feel like there's a little too much. I took off a little bit. Okay, so now we're gonna find the front. We're just gonna look at where we think the best front is gonna be. Here it is. Okay, offset spatula. I make an arrow. Next step, I look at my cake order. This one's number 73. Little piece of paper. I write the number 73. Stick this on the front of the cake. Because there has been times when I have forgotten what the cake flavor is after I buttercreamed it and what order it goes to. Little tip and trick after some failures. Okay, see you in a bit.